Welcome back, everybody, once again to the Brawl for All Pro Wrestling Show, episode 16. Your host, Jeff Jaros here, along with one of my co-hosts, Jeff Crow. What's up?
Woohoo! Not much.
Yeah, little flair with me today.
Yeah.
Anyway, Steven, who's usually on here, Steven Lane, he's actually busy at the time. His parents are down from out of state and stuff, so he's unable to make it tonight, but shout out to him. And hope to get him back on here next week.
Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out to Jason Williamson, who says he really wants to get on here, and he's hoping he can get on here and do that show. He's the former independent wrestler I mentioned a couple episodes ago. But he's going through some stuff right now with his fiance, like moving or something like that. So, like, he's trying to make the time to get on here before Mania. So we hope so. But shout out to him because he listens every week and always comments on everything. So.
Awesome.
And always enjoys the show, so that's always cool to hear.
That's good.
Okay, Jeff, so we watched Raw together this week, and that's mainly what we're going to report on. I also got some other little side notes. One of the first things I wanted to get at, though, was the whole Brock situation, and we thought by this week it'd be cleared up, but right now it's looking like I don't think they have a clear outlook on what's going on there.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It's.
I did read, which I'm trying to keep all spoilers and stuff under wraps. I don't want to even click on anything that says a spoiler or any dirt sheets or know anything. So I'm wanting the audience to know right now. We're pretty much more of a news show than we're not as much of a spoiler show. I mean, we give out the news if it's official news, but as far as a bunch of spoilers and rumors, it's kind of hard to report on those because of a lot of times they just aren't true.
Right. Exactly.
Extensive ones like that we hear of somebody coming in or something, that may be a different story. If we know it's like 100% lock. But, for the most part, spoilers, that's not really my thing. I don't want to ruin, the experience for myself or anybody else. So, Steven feels the same way, so. Just letting everybody know who listens. So I hope that don't disappoint anybody. I don't think it should. It makes it funner for everybody else. We kind of can predict where it's going to go, not really knowing for sure. I'm not big on getting spoilers for like what's going to happen in a match or, that
right.
just ruins.
I think it takes away from it. It really does.
It really does. Like we talked during the Rumble, knowing Reigns was going to win. Was pretty much. Anybody could see it coming, but. Just like last year we knew Batista was going to win. Anybody could see that coming, though, too. So it's kind of hard to say that you disagree with the spoiler when you know it's coming. But if we would have known something like who's going over at Mania, I don't want to know. No. I want it to be a shock. Like if I'd have known Brock was going to win last year against Taker, I would have been disappointed.
Yeah, that would have sucked. So, yeah, that was pretty good if they kept it that tight.
Oh, that was cool. I hope they try to pull something like that this year, too. They really need something big. And that's what I want to say before Raw, too, is this Mania is really lacking the mystique from past years. I thought last year it lacked some mystique, but at least you had, like, Taker and Brock, and you had, the whole title debacle with Daniel Bryan that was keeping it really interesting. This year, I don't see any like mega match standing out besides Triple H and Sting. Excuse me. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I think the same thing. The rest of the matches. Pretty much know how they're gonna go. And,
for the most part, we have a good idea on how they're gonna go.
Unless they do something totally, different. And what we don't expect or something, which they could do.
The only thing I want to say is that I see Bray Wyatt beating Taker for some reason. I just don't see them jobbing.
I don't know. For some reason, I think they're going to have him come back.
It's the ultimate job to do, and he's getting the major rub from just fighting Taker, facing Taker.
Taker may come back and destroy him at Mania.
And I wanted to talk on that, too. There's been all kinds. Go ahead.
Yeah, I may be wrong, but I think, after he got beat last year, I think he come back and kind of make a statement. Then I think maybe if he, can do another match here coming up before long.
I hope that he just
a rematch and have Wyatt beat him then.
Well, isn't next year in Texas? So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be his retirement match. I think this will be. So they may have him go over, but I just feel like Wyatt needs this match big time.
Right.
It'd be a bad way to go, I think, if they have Taker win, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of rumors going around about when Taker will appear and stuff, but I don't know. I think they may have him surprise everybody. He's going to show his face on Raw before it's all over. I'm thinking in one way or another.
You think so?
I think the mystique factor holds better though if they don't have him appear till Mania and make it seem like you don't know if he's coming or not.
Right.
And kind of, make the story better. They've never really done that, And that's better than like last year when they threw him in there like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, was it, for a build-up with Brock? I mean, I don't like that. At least they've had a lot of build-up.
Yeah, and I think if they hold off and wait till Mania, they probably will at least do some kind of segment where, it's almost, sure that he's going to come back, or it looks that way, but you're not positive until Mania, so.
Yeah, and it just seems that, it kind of lacks the mystique of past years, but that's just my opinion.
Regardless.
Yeah, he's going to be there, but I do think they should hold off till Mania, maybe having him come. They've never done that.
No.
And they threw him in there, like I said, 3 weeks build up with Brock was bad, and
yeah, there's no point in doing that.
This makes it more special. On like, I wonder what he looks like. How bad does he look? Or how good is he going to look?
Yeah, I mean, he may look great, and that's why they're waiting till Mania. He's wanting to maybe get in the best shape he can.
I agree.
So,
do you want to go on now with Raw, and then we got some notes afterwards real quick. Raw's going to be quite extensive this week. There was a lot of talking, and me and you both said, like, there's been some people saying it was decent, but I really found it really monotonous and boring.
Yeah, I don't think it was that good, really. I mean, a couple good spots.
They had me almost fading out for about the first hour and a half there. I was tired, but
I thought hear you snoring a few times.
Yeah, I was kind of tired, but anyway, they weren't like keeping me up. But then I finally got up and then watched the rest of the show. But the first hour or so I thought was really boring. I don't know. I was just like, if they had something on it that was good, I wouldn't be falling asleep right now.
Cena about done again, I think.
Yeah, that's. Oh man, when it got to Cena, I was about done. But anyway, I did make notes on everything, though, and I do remember seeing all the segments. I didn't really miss anything, but I was in and out there.
Right.
We got the Reigns-Rollins segment that started off, and it was just a bunch of talking again, like I said, like I said last week, every week starts off with like a 20-minute promo, but I guess this just set up the, main event match or whatever. Said he had a word for Jon Stewart. This also set up Jon Stewart coming out too. Rollins said he had a word for Jon Stewart and he told him not to show up. Then you had Reigns come out. He actually talked about Rollins being able to cash in the Money in the Bank, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And it could make it a possible triple threat. So Reigns did. By the end of the segment, after they argued, Reigns ended up decking Rollins in the face, and then he super punched J&J and he celebrated as Rollins ran off. So what'd you think of that whole opening segment? I mean,
I don't know. It was pretty much. I mean,
it was just pretty much to set up the main event and the whole Jon Stewart thing coming up. But I just wish they would just start off with a match one of these days instead of
exactly
a 20-minute promo.
Instead of 20 minutes, 30 minutes of promos out there before anything gets going.
And it's like you can't just tell the story in the ring. They have to come out and tell every little detail, like what's going to happen. It's just like I'm getting so bored with it. Then backstage they had Orton claim J&J isn't helping Rollins effectively. He said he should go to the Authority and demand a match with Reigns, and Rollins said he'll handle it on his own. But they did make the Reigns-Rollins match for the end of the night. I don't know how, but I thought it was already scheduled. But
yeah, yeah.
So you have Orton kind of like leaning, like you don't know if he's with the Authority or you don't. or not.
No.
So,
Like
what do you got to say about that?
Like I said, I talked about that wink he gave. That was later at the end when he gave it, but he had done it. I seen him when he first came back. He gave this little wink when he said something about he's just getting started.
Right. Like, I know that I can just see right now the Ultimate, it's just going to be like a powder keg and explode, and it's going to be Rollins and Orton at Mania.
Yeah, I think he's just getting in there real good with him.
And we'll discuss here in the main event what ended up happening with those two, but we can move on for now, I think. You had Ambrose defeat Barrett, the IC champion. Yes, he went down. He actually was distracted, though, because there was a big old bait and switch game going on with the IC title now.
R-Truth killing me. He's funny.
Actually, R-Truth's really stepped it up, I think, in this whole thing. I mean, he was really lost in the shuffle there, but I think he's found a niche now with this IC title. Because as we have not reported this yet, but it's going to be an IC title ladder match. Did we report that last show? I don't think so. I think we were thinking it was going to be thought it was going to be a multiple man match.
Yeah.
Do you know all the participants that's going to be in this match? It's going to be Truth, Harper, Ambrose, Barrett. I want to get on here for a second, but I'll mention somebody else. But I think that's who they had so far in the match. But
yeah, I'd seen a tweet from somebody today.
But anyway, the old hot potato with the IC belt, it's kind of entertaining, but it's kind of just like... It reminds me of the old hardcore title days when you could just come up and pin somebody and take it, and it was like in one show you had 14 changes. It just reminded me a lot of that, even though they weren't pinning people for the belt. But you had certain guys coming to get it. So Truth and Harper both took the belt. Harper ended up with it, and as Barrett was distracted yelling at him, and that's how Ambrose hit the Dirty Deeds for the clean win, actually. But he was distracted. I don't know why they have Barrett at this point job in the match.
No, he's job. I don't think he's maybe one match he's won.
So it's almost like you see it coming that Ambrose is going to win the ladder match, but I do think that's going to be one hell of a match.
Yeah,
and they could surprise us. They could surprise us because I think somebody else that we'll mention here in a little bit may have a chance of it too. It's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they threw that in there because we said it needed something like the Money in the Bank, and that's pretty much what this is.
Right.
But it means more. It's making the IC title mean more instead of having a Money in the Bank contract up there.
Right. It'll bring some prestige back to it, and hopefully they quit the old hot potato thing afterwards.
Yeah, the hot potato thing's it's already kind of getting old to me. Anyway, they went to the Miz commercial segment. Now, what do you think of that? He ran down Mizdow before he ended up showing the commercial, which ended up being a erectile dysfunction commercial, and it made Miz look like he had the problem, and Mizdow was the star of the commercial. And then Sandow and Miz got into an altercation over it. Miz ended up slapping Mizdow, calling him ungrateful, among other things, and then he threatened to get Mizdow fired, and Mizdow / Sandow backed down and ended up apologizing unthrillingly. Yeah. And the camera cut away. But what do you think of this whole deal? I was like, erectile dysfunction commercial. Who wrote this?
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy.
Are we going to get another Viagra on a pole match?
Yeah, that's what I was... Yeah, it was too cheesy. I don't know.
It's kind of funny because they did the worst gimmick matches or whatever, and they had the Viagra on a pole match with Shane Douglas and Billy Kidman on there. It's like, let's do another one. Yeah. Let's get one with Miz and Mizdow. Viagra on a pole.
Niagara.
That is hilarious. It was Niagara instead of Viagra. Niagara on a pole. Could you imagine Mania Niagara on a pole match?
Oh, I hope that would...
No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. I'm just kind of nodding towards that infamous Viagra on a pole match. So, but we both were like, what the hell? I remember. Because we watched this Raw together, I must mention.
It was stupid. It was funny kind of points, but it was just too cheesy, actually. I thought anyway, but some people might thought it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess some people might have thought it was funny, but I'm not big on that comedy aspect, like those kind of... I think it should have been wrestling, you know? something that had to do with it anyway. Anyway, the next segment they had was pretty neat, and give me a minute to talk about it here. Bray Wyatt came out in front of the casket and said he wondered what Taker actually had left. He called out Taker to come back. He showed the casket that he built for Taker, and it was kind of cool because he has been building that casket for weeks, and I guess this is the casket that he has made, which I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
That they actually have been using these vignettes. They actually used it for a meaning. Because I was wondering, what's he building a casket for?
Yeah, I figured that's what he was building it. Well, not for that segment, but I didn't know if he was just building one, just because it was the Undertaker.
Yeah, and I have more to say that in the second here.
Match or
yeah,
what?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Anyway, though, he said he wishes Taker could be there to appreciate the casket that he built for him, but he sits in silence. He says everything comes at a price, and he pulled out this gas canister, so it looked like, and he said fire has no prejudice or feelings, and it destroys everything in its path, just like him. And Bray poured the gas that looked like whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but he poured it on the casket and said everything burns, and he will burn Taker at Mania. And then he lit it, and as it was lit up, he was screaming, "Find me," over and over. And did you notice how fast that flame went out?
Yeah,
I think it went out a little premature, and they had to cut quick.
Yeah, they did cut pretty quick. Because as soon as it started to go down, they cut the commercial.
And I'm sitting here thinking, they're going to cut this quick because it's getting cut too early. Like, they should have had a little bit more of the scene, and that thing should have just been engulfed in flames.
Right.
But I think it didn't come off like they wanted it to.
No. And, plus, whatever they were using, you could tell it wasn't burning that hot.
Yeah, I think it must have been lighter fluid, I would say.
Yeah, it was something like that. Probably lighter fluid.
I don't know if he dumped the whole freaking canister on there or not, but he needed to because that thing went out quick. So I think they intended that to be a little longer, in fact, but it was a cool segment, though, and it's got you wondering now, will Taker show up? Will he not?
Right.
What kind of conditions is he going to be in? So they're telling a good
promo.
Yeah, he cut a great promo. He always does. He's the best on the mic right now in the whole business, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know who could top him coming up with this stuff. Anyway, the whole casket angle was neat. And I thought that the whole thing at Fastlane was cool, so...
Yeah.
Him screaming, "Find me," over and over. That's typical Bray Wyatt stuff, but, it's got you wondering, will Taker show up? What's it going to look like? Is he going to come to Raw? So.
What's going to happen between now and Mania? He may come, I don't know, he may show up. There's still quite a bit of time, but I still don't think he will, but it's possible. I just think they'll have something happen where he's not actually there, but... kind of a message from him.
I think that's going to be a good match too, in my opinion. If Taker shows up healthy and doesn't get hurt during the match like it did with Brock, I think it's going to be a better match than he had with Lesnar, at least. Yeah,
he's not Brock be able to throw him around like that, and plus it'll be a little bit slower paced for him.
But I do like the evil versus evil thing they're doing too. So
yeah.
Moving on from that, though, we got the Usos and Naomi defeated Kid and Cesaro and Natalya. Natty was mad at Kid for tagging her in hurt at the end. I thought that was kind of funny, really. But I don't know where they're going with that. Are they going just because it's Total Divas stuff? Or
I don't know. That's what I think, dude.
Like, you really think there's anything going on with these two in real life that they're really trying to play on? Or
I don't think so, but
who knows? It's all for show.
It's just Total Diva stuff.
But that wasn't really interesting to me, I see a tag match coming for the belts at the Mania, involving the Usos and Cesaro, and I think they may throw like the Ascension, PTP in there, maybe have like a 4-way, maybe. What Mania was it? WrestleMania 20 that they had like 2 4-team tag matches. They had like the Dudley Boys in it. I can't remember the stipulation, but they should do something like that maybe.
I can't remember which one it was.
I'll have to go back and watch WrestleMania 20 again and report at the next show. But whatever they did at WrestleMania 20 with the tag teams, I think they need to do that again this year.
Yeah.
I know it involved multiple tag teams, like 4 tag teams. So, and they had 2 matches because that was when SmackDown and Raw were both split. So.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do something like that.
Yeah, they do. They need to get the Ascension involved, I think.
Yeah, instead of the same teams, back and forth.
I want to see the Usos in the Ascension anyway, so.
Yeah.
Ascension hasn't got a chance to really work a good match, in my opinion.
They had I think.
They had the Outlaws.
They had the Outlaws. I think they had Stardust and Goldust.
Yeah. They have faced some good teams, but none of them have been like any kind of match, though. They squash them pretty quick. So.
Right.
Okay, moving on from there. This is the segment that I thought was real boring. Was Cena claiming he wanted Rusev at Mania, but Rusev was denying him. So he said he'll enter the Andre Battle Royal instead. Steph came out and kind of claimed who in the Fed gets to pick their matches. She said she knew Andre and he's not getting in the Battle Royal. They argued about Cena being or not being at Mania, period. Steph said it doesn't matter. He didn't define WWE. They thrived no matter who was there. And maybe they'll leave him off the show because it sounds like that's what fans want. And then she said Cena should think about where he'd be without them. So, what'd you think of that little trade? Like, you really think Cena's gonna get in the Andre Battle Royal? I was just like, that's not happening.
No.
And he's gonna end up fighting Rusev, so I don't get the whole angle. It's like they're just trying to stretch things out.
I think he's end up gonna get Lana and snatch her up or something, and get Rusev to agree to the match that way. But I don't know. That could be just me thinking. I don't know.
Yeah. He's not. It's gonna be. It's gonna.
He's got to figure out a way to, talk him into the match.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being done. But yeah, we got to go on because this segment was still going. Because Axel came out and interrupted. He said Axelmania was running wild.
It was, too.
And he deserves a shot at Rusev. And says he knew Andre and he's in the Battle Royal, but 2 victories at WrestleMania would be even better. Axel said Steph was an inspiration and says Cena should prove himself against him in a match. Axel taunted Cena, and Cena said that he'll give him a chance to leave, and if the match happens, Axel won't walk out. By the way, Steph said that the only way he'll get a shot is if Rusev changes his mind, like you said. So then Axel and Cena had the match, and he tapped Axel out to the STF real quick. Rusev taunted him at the end of the ramp, saying it's his decision, like Steph says, and he says no still. So that was that whole thing. I mean, it was a long segment, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Axelmania pretty much walked out of there.
Axelmania did walk out, but he got squashed quick. Like,
yeah,
still going nowhere.
He wouldn't walk out of there. They should have had him really beat him down.
So what's the word? This Axelmania really was running wild then.
Yeah, they was getting a good pop there. Chant.
I've been saying push Axel. So
he's actually pretty good on the stick. He's not too bad.
Didn't you say?
He sounds like.
Yeah, didn't you say the other day he reminds you of Kennedy?
Yeah, he kind of sounds like him if you just kind of listen to him and not watch. I don't know. It's just the way his voice is kind of like his. Not quite the same, but it's similar.
Yeah.
The way he talks a little bit.
Curtis Axel. They should push him. Yeah, right. Former IC champ, by the way. Anyway, did you notice the Triple H and Steph kind of just controlled the next like half hour or 45 minutes of Raw, because then it was the Triple H segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to talk about how he asked Vince for an opportunity in '95, and he thinks he done well, and he offered the same thing to Sting and said that his legacy could live forever, but he turned it down for that one match at Mania and says he's going to get it, but Sting picked the wrong guy, and he will make sure Sting's career changes forever.
He's forgotten.
Yeah, he said Sting's theory is said by everyone that he never came to the WWE due to Triple H. So
right.
And then he invited Booker T in the ring since he knew Sting so well.
Said something for Triple
He told Booker he heard Sting wanted to be there, but Triple H used politics to keep him out.
Yeah.
He wanted Booker's opinion. And Booker T
well,
said, Booker T was like, I know both of you guys, but Triple H was like, you sound like those internet marks banging around on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny. Thinking you know the ins and outs of the business and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
No, Booker did say before he came out there, Booker said, yeah, when they were talking about Sting, he was kind of talking about what he thinks Triple H could have been that way. Triple H was kind of blocking him from coming.
Well, what's funny is that, he could have came in and be Hunter Hearst Helmsley. You know what I mean? Like, that would have done him any good.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that was kind of stupid.
Yeah, Sting was quite a bigger of a star than him at that time.
Yeah. Well, Booker said he wanted to clarify things and said not one person's been able to control him, not Flair, Hogan, or Bischoff. And Triple H has to deal with Sting now at Mania. Triple H set a control example by firing Booker right there on the spot. Booker went and got his stuff and left like he was leaving the arena. And then he said that he was just joking and told Booker to go sit back down. And then he said that's an example of his control, and he has the ultimate control here, meaning in the WWE, and that the opportunity he has will finally allow him to end the last piece of WCW, which is Sting. So they're playing off the whole WCW. Sting is like the cornerstone, and he wants to destroy what's left of WCW. And
only bit left.
And what's funny is that like they phoned in this segment because it's like I think they were sitting back there like, what do we do this week? We ain't got Sting around. Oh, Booker was in WCW. He's on the announce team. Let's do something with him.
Yeah, I think that was more to get people to watch the network for the Booker T documentary. We'll talk about.
It did. It was all he was also on there to hype up that documentary, that WWE 24, which was really good, and we'll talk about that too. But we got quite a bit here to get through on Raw. We're almost halfway through though, so flying through here. I thought that was a good segment though, the whole Triple H thing, but it does kind of seem like they just threw something together real quick with who they had, and they never tried to make it really special.
Right.
That build up with Triple H and Sting has not been the greatest in my opinion.
No. It's just that they've only been in their ring twice now together.
Yeah, they need to have them come face to face on a Raw, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
I think they still could. I could see where they could maybe have Trips beat him down before Mania. I don't know.
Yeah, he needs to get some payback on him before Mania.
And I think Sting will go over Mania, but I think Trips needs to get a few good beating on him.
Right. It'll be a hell of a match, and I think Sting goes over too, but
yeah.
I don't see it any other way. Going on to the next segment though was the women's thing. Paige versus Nikki Bella with Brie for the Divas title. Brie got involved breaking up the Paige tap out for the DQ. They attacked Paige, and then AJ Lee returned for the save. She attacked the Bellas as Paige assists. Big CM Punk chant going on.
As soon as she got out there.
That's like the first thing we noticed was like, listen to the CM Punk chants going on. Which they're just doing it now because it's his wife.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the WWE still doesn't like the chant. But I'm glad to see AJ back in the women's division. And it looks like she's going to be on a Mania spot, so that's good.
They were probably hoping that the chants would go away or something. They should have knew that.
Well, they knew that wasn't going to happen. They actually have acknowledged kind of, how she, even CM Punk acknowledged that they kind of just chant it just because it's his wife.
Yeah.
It's like, it's getting kind of ridiculous with the fans that think they're so smart. But,
Right.
but really, it's just like, okay, we know, all right.
Yeah,
But it was a good little spot for AJ to return.
yeah, it was.
They talked backstage, by the way, and AJ says they're friends now again, so that's good.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought it was weird because I was just kind of being sarcastic. I was kind of being sarcastic there. I really think that the friends thing's stupid because they've been doing that for how long? Since Paige came in.
Yeah.
They've been doing this friends angle. Like, really?
What did her shirt say? Stay weird or still weird?
Stay weird.
Stay weird.
I did like her stay weird shirt.
Yeah, that was good.
You got to admit that was a good shirt. I like AJ though.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Jon Stewart segment with Rollins. What'd you think of that whole deal?
I thought it was actually pretty decent.
I thought Jon Stewart cut the best promo of the night, really.
Yeah, he's talking about.
Yeah, he showed he had wrestling knowledge. I mean, he said that he probably kind of did some studying before, though, I'd say, a little bit. He said he respected Austin, Foley, Taker.
Yeah, and I mean,
He said Rollins took a shortcut that they never did. I thought that was neat.
Right.
Rollins basically was out there saying he could do a better job than Stewart at his own show. But Stewart also called him the authorities poster boy. Says he didn't even earn the Money in the Bank. Rollins got all mad and got in Stewart's face, and then Orton came out, and Stewart kicked Rollins in the balls, the gonads, the grapefruits, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And it looked like a nice stiff shot. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Orton asked what that was all about, and he left Rollins in the ring while Stewart celebrated on the ramp. So that was the end of that segment. But yeah, I think that was the best segment of the night. That's kind of where I started coming around again, saying it's kind of interesting now.
That's good. Like I said, it was. I mean, he cut a pretty good promo there.
Yeah, he did. He really. It seemed like he had some knowledge on the business. He didn't look like he was like uncomfortable out there like some of these guys.
No.
They need to use him for Mania.
And I just seen where Orton tweeted, it was today or yesterday or something about, he said that Jon Stewart killed it out there. He said hopefully it comes back.
I want to see Orton with Jon Stewart in his corner against Rollins and J&J Security.
Yeah, that's what I think it'll probably be that. Hopefully.
I think that's what's going to happen.
That's probably going to be like the final match or something.
Right.
I don't think there's much room left.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, well, I would. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're going to do a tag match too, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to call the card, though, till I actually see what they're going to do, so.
I think Orton could beat him, and then that's where I think he's going to pull that Money in the Bank briefcase out sometime.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that here, though, because he comes back in the main event, though, so.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, though, we had Luke Harper versus Daniel Bryan. Bryan won via the yes lock. This is where it got weird. Barrett ran down and grabbed the title. And as he was going out, he got super kicked by Dolph Ziggler out of nowhere. Dolph with a new look, though. I thought the look's better. The hair's better than like that.
Yeah.
With, like, the braid. He looks more badass like that than with the just wetted down blonde Billy Gunn look. So maybe they're going with giving him a little bit of an edge. It looked like they were giving him a little edge.
Yeah, that's why I forgot. I was watching that show, Vikings. A couple of them Vikings, that's how their hair is cut. Kind of like how he had his.
I like that style.
Yeah.
I think he looks better now. So he climbs up to the top of the ladder, though, with the belt, though, and Daniel Bryan's over there giving the yes chants on the announce table. And Daniel Bryan kind of looks up at the WrestleMania sign and then starts a yes chant towards Dolph Ziggler. So are they both in the IC ladder match, too? Because Ziggler has the belt up there holding it up, and Bryan's saying yes, 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 pointing up at the Mania sign. So it looks like...
I remember they were talking about having a match, but that was just them two.
Maybe they're going to throw them in the IC title ladder match, too. I haven't really looked into it, but...
I mean, because I even heard of another person.
That's going to be a huge ladder match if they do that. But I wanted to see Bryan just versus Ziggler straight up.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know what's going to happen there. You know, isn't Ziggler involved in this ladder match?
They haven't said for sure.
Okay, well, we'll see where that goes. But it was just a weird. That's why I said things got confusing there, because I'm like, are these guys in the ladder match? And why did he super kick Barrett and take the title? Why are him and Bryan staring each other down? Bryan's looking at the Mania sign. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, knew they were talking about, or were tweeting back and forth about having a match.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, but then the whole IC thing didn't really make sense, like you said. It was.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to see what plays out there, but that's one of the things on Raw that I thought was weird.
All right.
So it looks like Bryan and Ziggler are definitely gonna be in some sort of altercation. So, but then you had Ambrose. Didn't he bump Ziggler on the way out? Wasn't that Ziggler he bumped on the way out last week?
Yeah.
So then that's what I'm saying. Is he involved in this IC title thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of
like you said, he was holding the belt. So.
Yeah. So it seems like they're in it. So if Daniel Bryan and Ziggler's in it, that's going to be one hell of a match.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be hard to follow that one. I hate to tell them.
Heard another person or two that may be in it.
Yeah. I have no idea. But the next segment going on from there, it was, what? Say what?
Goldust tweeted something about things that are going to get it interesting in the IC match, and it said 3-time champ or something. Hashtag 3-time champ.
I think they need to do Stardust and Goldust.
Yeah, that's what.
I mean,
that's the way it looked like they were going. I don't know why they. I don't know.
There wasn't really nothing on Raw tonight about them, was it? Or not tonight, but there was. Actually, we're recording this on Wednesday, but we watched it Monday. But there wasn't on this edition of Raw anything about Goldust or Stardust.
No, and that's what's weird. I don't know why they would just. I don't know.
I don't know if they've killed it or what, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Okay. So going on from there, Heyman came out for Lesnar again, and we already talked about the whole Lesnar deal. But he said Lesnar will be champ as long as he damn well pleases. He said Brock would have just crushed Daniel Bryan like a bug at Fastlane, unlike Reigns did. He said people shouldn't buy into Reigns because it's not happening, and no one will dispute his claim of Brock conquering Reigns. He says Reigns is a badass Samoan with a chip on his shoulder, but when WrestleMania goes down, it goes down two ways, with Brock beating Reigns like he did John Cena, or he'll simply Ronda Rousey his ass. What'd you think of that? That was a good line to play on the current things going on. I thought that was a good line.
Right.
And then
he'll go wherever he damn well pleases before.
Yeah, he said wherever he damn well pleases, kind of hitting at the UFC 148 appearance that he made.
Right.
That we didn't even mention that, Vince was upset that he went to UFC 148 for whatever reason, because he's under contract with WWE and contract negotiations. I don't know, but I heard he was upset. So we're gonna have to see where the whole Lesnar thing goes. But it seems like he's gonna show up.
Yeah,
and he'll definitely show up to drop the belt if nothing else. I mean,
right.
Heyman ended it by saying you can believe that Reigns will get conquered by Lesnar at WrestleMania. So now it's Lesnar will conquer Reigns. So
that was a pretty good promo.
Between him and Jon Stewart, that was probably the best two promos of the night, best two spots.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
And Blayze, yeah.
No good matches tonight, really, though.
No, I didn't think so.
I keep saying the night like it's current, but obviously it's a couple days later.
But I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
There wasn't. Yeah, and just to say in the main event, as we're on it right now, it was Reigns versus Rollins. I didn't think it was much of a very good match. I mean,
no,
they didn't have a lot of time.
Rollins carried him pretty much.
Yeah, Rollins carried him. And just to say what happened, Reigns called for a Superman punch, but Orton grabbed his leg, and Rollins stole the win with a roll-up. I thought it was interesting having Orton help him. So you don't know what's going on with him and Rollins right now, but that's good storytelling, in my opinion, which needs to be done. even though we know that him and Rollins are ultimately probably going to have a match. I think that was good storytelling.
Yeah, and then, like I said, his tweet, sounds more like, he's on Jon Stewart's side, basically.
Well, that's cool. I didn't hear about the tweet, but yeah, if he's saying that, then I could see next. Well, it does. He did end the show like this, though. It showed Orton celebrating with the Authority at the end.
He gave that wink.
And he did give that wink, though. You're right. But Reigns top rope, over the rope like plancha onto the Authority and everybody onto the floor. It was a top rope.
That was a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that was a nice spot. Wouldn't you call that a plancha? I mean, dive.
Yeah.
It was a nice dive. I mean, it shows Reigns got some skills on the... I didn't know he had that in him.
He got pretty high over that rope.
It was a nice Undertaker-style dive is what it was. He tackled the Big Show, whipped Rollins into the barricade. He knocked down Kane. Then he speared Show, and then Rollins came off the top rope, looking like he was going to try to pull something off, and just a perfect spear from Reigns. And I mean, it was hard when it hit. We were like, wow, Rollins took a hell of a bump right there.
It looked like his legs hit the ground, and then he just stuck him right when they hit.
Yeah, like he kind of messed it up, but it still looked good.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a football tackle.
Right, so they had Reigns leave everybody laying. I thought it was a good, like I said at the time, it was a good ending to the Raw.
Yeah, and his spears, I mean, he probably used to, he played college football, so he's probably just spearing people like that.
That was a hell of a spot, in my opinion.
Yeah. He needs to drop the Superman punch. Go away with that. I mean,
and just use the spear.
Yeah. Use something else.
Well, Edge really's not using it no more. Goldberg's not around.
Nah, but come up with another pretty good power move.
Yeah, because we were talking about how the Superman punch just doesn't cut it.
Nah, he needs.
It's not an impressive move. He needs something like, Brock.
Like Taker's got he's got
Tombstone
and
Last Ride,
Choke
Slam. But Brock has the F5, which is pretty impressive because he hoists guys up. But I think he needs something like that.
Yeah,
some kind of power finisher.
Yeah,
I thought a straight power bomb would have worked for him, but obviously some variation of a power bomb would have worked, but. Looks like they gave that to Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And anyway, that was the end of Raw. So overall, I thought it was like an average Raw, but it had tons of stuff that moved some storylines forward that we needed to talk about. So that took a while. But that was Raw pretty much. I hope next week's better. Oh yeah, Alundra Blayze, aka Medusa, is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, which I think is good. And we already talked about her numerous times. I think she was a hell of a wrestler and would have fit in real good with like Lita and Trish Stratus in that era. I think she was before her time.
Yeah.
If you haven't saw her, you need to go check her out. She was a good wrestler for a woman. The Booker T24, what'd you think? I thought it was really good. I thought they need a lot more.
Yeah, I thought it was real good.
I really want to see one on Sting.
Yeah.
That'd be great before this Mania to do one on Sting. I don't know if they want to go behind the scenes though, like they did with Booker.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Sting would be cool.
You wouldn't want to show his home life and stuff. That'd ruin his aura. But if they just did one on his career.
Do anything. They've done enough on Stone Cold, I guess, but.
I'd just like to see more of those. Those were neat. That was neat. I'd like to see one on JBL.
Yeah. JBL would be good.
Just anybody really is neat. I was wondering what they were going to do next.
Start some Hall of Famers out that don't really have the documentary.
Yeah.
Like Scott Hall.
Right.
Do Jake the Snake a newer one?
You're right, man. I think you're right on track with that one because that's exactly what I think. And I think I was wondering, I've enjoyed both episodes so far too of that. the Mania
Yeah.
and the Booker T. And I was wondering what they were going to do after the Mania one, and I'm glad they're going in that kind of a direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's one good thing about the network. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, they can experiment and know what people want. You know what I mean? They can take polls and whatever, and they control it, so it doesn't really matter if something flops on there. You know, like obviously the Legends House isn't coming back anytime soon. Which I think a Legends House would be decent if they had good legends in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just kind of boring.
Yeah. So, anyway, another note that I had, Rey Mysterio finally released by WWE. I think we've talked about this, has been coming for a long time. Like, he was very unhappy, I think I reported.
Yeah.
And wanted to get out of there. And I heard he's going to AAA. Like, AAA already announced it in Mexico that he's coming. And I seen him with Alberto Del Rio, a.k.a. Alberto El Patron, and Sin Cara, a.k.a. Mystico. We're both in the ring with Mysterio at AAA event I saw some pictures of. So I think WWE could have really used Mysterio, though, right now. I mean...
Especially with, like, some of these smaller guys from NXT. I mean, they could have used him with them somehow, possibly, or...
Well, they're lacking that Spanish star, too, that Mexican star. And I've heard a lot of rumors that Triple H wants to find the next, Latin American star or Mexican star that's going to cater to that, Mexican Spanish audience, Spanish-speaking audience that they have. He's looking for somebody like 6 foot. Or I seen like they actually know like what he wants like from the guy. Like Alberto Del Rio would have been perfect right now, but he's gone. Ray left, so he's kind of like. I seen they put the Lucha Dragons on main event.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, is he gonna use Kalisto or what?
No, I hope not.
Is Kalisto even a straight Spanish-speaking guy? Or is he more like Rey Mysterio, like he's Mexican-American? I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he wrestled as Samurai del Sol before. And he even has a move called something del Sol.
I think he's like a Mysterio.
Because he don't talk
could be
Mexican when he talks, does he? He talks straight American. So.
Yeah, from what I heard, I thought it sounded like that he was speaking pretty good English. So I don't know.
Right.
But angle there. I mean, what kind of character he's going to be here?
I think they should give Kalisto. Kalisto could be a good replacement for Mysterio. You're not going to replace Rey Mysterio, but he could fit that niche that they need.
Yeah, he's
got the mask.
Is he smaller than?
I don't know. Ray was 5'3", so if you're shorter than that, I don't know. He's been in there a while now, though, so WWE must like him.
Yeah, he's pretty decent, but like I said, he's really small.
He pulls off some fantastic moves too. So I don't think he's any smaller than Ray. He reminds me of a little Ray. I don't know. Yeah,
they should split him up and down in NXT and have him face some of the bigger guys. See how he does.
Right. I'd like to see him get out of that tag team too, because I'm not big on Hunico as Sin Cara anyway. So.
Right. And he's a good wrestler. They should use him some other way. I mean.
Oh, you know what I forgot to report real quick is on that Heyman segment, the mic went out 3 times. Was that on purpose or?
I don't know what was going on there.
I forgot to note that.
It was strange.
He seemed pretty annoyed by the end. Yeah, he said he seemed pretty annoyed at the end, like he couldn't believe. Yeah. Can somebody get me a mic that works? I wanted to mention that before I forgot. But I had one last note, if you don't have anything else.
Let's see. Did I have anything? Oh, I had a couple of notes here.
Okay.
I seen why they had Rhino and Kendrick back or coming to NXT.
Okay, I wanted to talk about NXT. I'm glad you brought that up. I thought they had a hell of a show again, and it's probably the best show going right now still. And the Brian Kendrick was cool to see, and they used his old gimmick, which I thought was interesting. So go ahead with that.
Right, yeah, they said they brought him back basically to, help the younger talent get more, with some experienced guys. Yeah.
That's why I could see Dudley Boys coming in there. Maybe Bubba Ray and Devon are like, we'd rather be on the main roster. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's why Tyson Kidd was down there for a while, and he's pretty good.
Kid did a hell of a job there.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he's doing a hell of a job with Cesaro because they need to utilize those two, and they could be two good guys to really get the division back on track.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I had Titus O'Neil.
I'm really impressed. I'm impressed with Owen, Zayn, Finn Balor. Tommy kind of impresses me, but I don't see how he's going to translate to the American audience.
Yeah.
And they do have short-term contracts as far as Tommy, Balor, and Owens. Like, they only can be in NXT so long, and then WWE has to use them. I've heard that. So
really?
Yeah, I think that's the deal. I think that's the deal with them, and that's why he's fast-tracked so fast up to the title already.
That's cool.
So, I'd like to see Sami Zayn, man. I mean, there's a lot of guys with really good upsides in NXT. It's, like I said, the best wrestling going right now. It is their version of Ring of Honor. And as I said, if they keep it going, it's going to take down TNA and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's definitely got some good wrestling.
I mean, it's not going to take them out per se, but it's going to really cut down on the talent that they have to choose from if they start getting some of these veterans like Rhino and Kendrick. I mean, Kendrick and Balor had a hell of a match.
Yeah, I can't. It's on the night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the night. I'll probably watch it when I get off here. But
yeah.
Here's the deal, though. One recommendation per week on a match, and I would recommend to watch that Finn Balor and the Brian Kendrick returning last week on NXT. That was cool.
Yeah.
Do you have another note, you said?
Yeah, I had one more. It was why Stephanie and Triple H were moved up to the board of directors.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they up there.
So they're moved up to the board of directors?
Yeah, they said it's basically to prepare them for running the company, and they said it's kind of Wall Street. They didn't think it would look real good for an ex-wrestler with, barely any company running skills to, be the CEO.
Right, you got to have some experience there. And you never know.
Right.
Anything can happen to Vince at 70 years old almost, so.
Yeah, and then, with him got NXT, and pretty much anybody who watches it.
I mean, I'm hoping Vince lives a lot longer, but you never know. I mean, he could.
Right.
They could have to fast track him right in there if something happened to Vince, or he was unable to do it or whatever. But
right.
I think that's a good idea. Then I never heard about that.
And
because I think Triple H is better in NXT booking than WWE.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's already shown that he can pretty much do a good job.
Oh, he's impressed. He's really impressed me if he's doing the work.
That's smaller quite a bit. I mean, your WWE is huge.
Right. But I think he could get him back on the right track.
Yeah, I actually think he will. I mean, when he takes it over, I think he'll do some pretty good things.
Yep. Well, my last note, Vince is no longer on the Forbes billionaire list, I read. Ooh. So, he's no longer a billionaire.
I heard Kevin Dunn sold a bunch of his shares.
I don't know. Him not being a billionaire anymore, kind of like, wow. I was just like, wanted to say something about that.
I thought I heard something about that a while.
So Vince no longer the billionaire. It's no longer, what did they call Stephanie, the billionaire princess or something? Or
yeah. I think after he took that big hit on the network deal, I think that hurt.
Yeah, well, he didn't even make the list, so he's no longer worth $1 billion. But he's still worth a hell of a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
he's still worth a lot.
It just shows you something needs to change, really. I mean,
Right.
Raw was average for going into WrestleMania. It doesn't seem like the Mystique's there. I want to see things pick up, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So, I think they may be inducting either Ray Stevens or Diesel next week. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think he's going to go in as Diesel.
It'd probably be. Yeah, I think he'll go in as Diesel.
I don't know. But,
you never know. He could go in as Kevin Nash.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But that's...
Scott Hall went to Razor Ramon, so...
Right, that's why I think maybe they may use Diesel. So that'd be funny to see them pull up old Diesel on there. Well, I think that's going to end it for episode 16. We'll be back with episode 17 next week. Thank everybody for subscribing and liking us on Facebook. I want to encourage everyone who checks us out for the first time to like or subscribe. And if you have a comment, leave it on either Facebook, under the comments on our Facebook page, or under the comment section in YouTube under the video. And we will answer any questions or respond to any comments you guys have. I thought something that Jason told me about last week's show, but I can't really remember. Oh yeah, I think he was talking about, we talked about the evil versus evil gimmick.
Right.
And he said he actually worked with Kevin Thorne, aka Kevin Fertig, Mordecai. And he gave me an interesting note that I want to end on here, that he said that actually at WrestleMania 22 or 3, I can't remember what year, they were actually planning on Kevin Thorne versus Undertaker, but Thorne got into some kind of trouble outside, which I can't remember actually what it was. If we get Jason on here, we'll get some views off him, but then that ended up scratching that like a couple months before Mania. So Kevin Thorne, a.k.a. Mordecai, which I think Mordecai would have worked better, but they were going to do Taker Kevin Thorne is what he said he was told, so that's cool.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things he told me, but I just want to thank everybody out there for listening, and tune in next week to episode 17. I'm going to say peace out. Jeff?
Yep, thanks everyone.
All right. Till next time, guys. Thanks for listening. Peace.